The classroom was unusually quiet that afternoon. Professor Evelyn Carter stood in front of the whiteboard with a marker in her hand, staring at the complicated equation she had just written. It stretched across almost the entire board, filled with variables, symbols, fractions, and several steps that would normally take even an experienced student a considerable amount of time to understand. She turned toward her students. "Well?" Nobody answered. A few students lowered their eyes. One young man in the front row slowly closed his notebook. Professor Carter smiled. "I thought so." The class laughed. "This is not part of today's assignment. I'm giving you a challenge." A student raised his hand. "How difficult?" Evelyn smiled. "Difficult enough that most people will give up before they reach the middle." A few students groaned. "Professor, that's not encouraging." "I'm not trying to encourage you," she replied playfully. "I'm trying to test you." The students laughed again. At that exact moment, someone appeared in the open doorway. It was Marcus Reed. He was 42 years old and wore the dark blue uniform of the University Maintenance Department. His sleeves were rolled slightly above his wrists, and he was pushing a small cleaning cart containing supplies, paper towels, and a mop. Marcus had worked at the university for almost 6 years. Most students barely noticed him. To them, he was simply the man who cleaned the classrooms after lectures ended. But Marcus had learned long ago not to care about being noticed. He had more important things to worry about. His 8-year-old daughter, Lily, depended on him. He worked long hours, paid the bills, prepared meals, helped with homework, and made sure his daughter never went to sleep wondering whether her father would be there the next morning. Marcus glanced into the classroom. His eyes landed on the equation. He stopped. Something about it caught his attention. Evelyn noticed him standing there. "Mr. Reed?" Marcus looked up. "Yes, Professor." "Do you need something?" "No. I was just passing by." His eyes returned to the board. Evelyn noticed. "You're looking at the problem." Marcus nodded. "It's interesting." A few students exchanged amused looks. Evelyn smiled. "You think so?" "Yes." "Do you know how to solve it?" Marcus hesitated. "I might." One student laughed. Another whispered, "The janitor?" Marcus heard him but didn't react. Evelyn studied Marcus. She had spoken to him dozens of times over the years. He was polite, quiet, and dependable. She had seen him repairing broken chairs, cleaning classrooms, carrying heavy boxes, and helping students who accidentally locked themselves out of rooms. But she had never seen him discuss mathematics. "You might?" she repeated. Marcus nodded. "If you'd like, I can try." The class erupted in laughter. Evelyn raised one hand. Everyone, quiet. The laughter faded. She looked at Marcus. "Do you understand what kind of equation this is?" "Yes." "This isn't basic algebra." "I know. It requires advanced mathematical reasoning." "I know that too." Evelyn leaned against her desk. "And you believe you can solve it?" Marcus looked at the board. "I believe I can try." There was something about his calmness that made Evelyn curious. She handed him the marker. "All right." Marcus walked toward the board. A student started a timer on his phone. Someone whispered, "This should be entertaining." Marcus ignored the comment. He stood in front of the equation. For several seconds, he didn't write anything. He simply studied it. His eyes moved from one side of the equation to the other. Then he began. The first line appeared. Then another. The room gradually became quiet. Marcus erased one section and rewrote it. Evelyn's expression changed. She stepped closer. She recognized the method. It wasn't a shortcut. It was a highly efficient transformation that required someone to understand the structure of the equation rather than simply follow memorized formulas. Marcus continued. 1 minute passed. Then another. The students were no longer laughing. One of them leaned forward. Wait. Marcus wrote the final line. He placed a box around the answer. Then he stepped aside. That's it. Nobody spoke. Evelyn stared at the board. She walked toward it. Her eyes moved carefully through every step. She checked the first transformation. Correct. The second. Correct. The third. Correct. She checked the final answer. Her mouth opened slightly. She looked at Marcus. You solved it. Marcus shrugged. I told you I could try. The students erupted. Some clapped. Others stood up. One student shouted, "That's insane." Another said, "How did you even know to do that?" Marcus smiled. It's just mathematics. Evelyn continued staring at the board. Then she remembered what she had said earlier. She had been joking. Completely joking. She looked at Marcus. You know. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Yes? I may have made a promise. The class immediately became quiet again. One student laughed. Professor, don't tell me you forgot. Evelyn covered her face for a moment. Marcus looked confused. What promise? A student answered for her. She said if anyone solved the problem, she'd marry him. The classroom exploded with laughter. Marcus looked at Evelyn. Evelyn's face turned bright red. I was joking. The students laughed even harder. Marcus smiled. Of course you were. A student shouted, but he solved it. Another added, she has to keep her word. Evelyn pointed toward the door. Everyone out. The class laughed as students began packing their things. Marcus returned the marker. Don't worry, Professor. I won't hold you to a joke. He started pushing his cart away. Evelyn watched him leave. For some reason, she didn't laugh. Instead, she looked back at the equation. Then she looked toward the doorway. Something had changed. She just didn't know what. The next morning, Evelyn saw Marcus in the hallway. He was cleaning a section of the floor near the library. She stopped. Good morning. Marcus looked up. Good morning, Professor. She smiled. About yesterday. Marcus sighed playfully. I knew that was coming. I wanted to apologize. For what? For assuming you couldn't solve the problem. Marcus leaned against the handle of the mop. You didn't know me. That doesn't make it right. He smiled. Most people don't know me. Evelyn studied him. Where did you learn mathematics? Marcus was quiet for a moment. College. You went to college? Yes. What did you study? Applied mathematics. Evelyn looked genuinely surprised. Then why are you working here? Marcus looked toward the library windows. Life happened. She waited. He didn't explain. She didn't push. Later that week, Evelyn discovered something else. Marcus wasn't simply a janitor. He was also a father. She found him sitting outside the university cafeteria with a little girl beside him. The girl had curly brown hair, a pink backpack, and a notebook open on her lap. Marcus was helping her with mathematics. Evelyn approached. Marcus looked up. Professor. The little girl looked at Evelyn. Are you the professor who gave Daddy the impossible problem? Evelyn laughed. Your father told you? No. He doesn't talk about himself. Marcus smiled. Lily. What? The girl asked innocently. Evelyn sat down beside them. Your father is very good at mathematics. Lily smiled proudly. I know. Evelyn noticed Marcus's expression. There was a tenderness in his eyes that she had never seen before. She's your daughter? Yes. She's beautiful. Thank you. Lily looked at Evelyn. Daddy says you're very smart. Marcus immediately shook his head. I never said that. Yes, you did. When? Yesterday. Marcus sighed. Evelyn smiled. I'm glad he thinks I'm smart. Lily looked between them. Are you friends? Marcus and Evelyn looked at each other. Something like that, Marcus said. Over the next few weeks, Evelyn and Marcus began talking more often. At first, their conversations were short. Then they became longer. They talked about books, mathematics, their childhoods, their dreams, their failures. Evelyn learned that Marcus had once been offered a position at a research institute. He had been 28 years old. He had been preparing to begin a promising career in mathematics when his wife left after years of personal problems. Marcus became the sole parent of his young daughter. He had been forced to choose between his career and his child. He chose Lily. I never regretted it, he told Evelyn one evening. But you gave up so much. Marcus smiled. I didn't give up everything. What did you keep? He looked at a photograph of Lily on his phone. Her. Evelyn didn't know what to say. She simply smiled. A month later, Evelyn was invited to a university ceremony. She was receiving an award for academic achievement. After the ceremony, she noticed Marcus standing at the back of the hall. He was wearing his work uniform. He was clapping louder than anyone. She walked toward him. Why didn't you sit in front? Marcus shrugged. People like me usually stay in the back. Evelyn looked at him seriously. Not tonight. She took his hand. Come with me. She led him toward the front. People looked at them. Marcus felt uncomfortable. Evelyn. It's fine. She didn't let go. That evening changed something between them. Neither of them said it. But they both felt it. A few days later, Evelyn found Marcus alone in one of the empty classrooms. He was writing an equation on the board. She watched silently. You still do that when you're stressed? Marcus turned. I didn't hear you come in. She walked closer. Are you stressed? A little. Why? He smiled. Because my daughter has a school project, my rent increased, and my supervisor wants me to take extra shifts. Evelyn's expression softened. You don't have to do everything alone. Marcus looked at her. I've been doing it alone for a long time. Maybe you don't have to anymore. The room became silent. Marcus stared at her. Evelyn. I know. You're my professor. You're not my student. You're from a completely different world. She shook her head. No. We're from the same world. We just took different roads. Marcus looked away. I don't want you to feel sorry for me. I don't. Then what do you feel? Evelyn took a slow breath. I think I admire you. Marcus looked at her again. And I think. She stopped. What? I think I fell in love with you. Marcus froze. For several seconds, he didn't speak. Then he laughed softly. That's impossible. Why? Because I spent 6 years cleaning classrooms. And? And you're a professor. And? I have a daughter. I know. I don't have money. I didn't ask for money. I don't have a fancy house. I don't want one. Marcus's voice became quiet. Then what do you want? Evelyn stepped closer. You. He looked into her eyes. Are you sure? Yes. Marcus smiled. Then he remembered something. That joke. Evelyn laughed through her tears. What joke? The equation. She smiled. I'm never going to hear the end of that, am I? No. She shook her head. I said it without thinking. And I solved it. Yes. So now you can't take it back. Evelyn laughed. You really are impossible. Marcus smiled. You said you'd marry me. I know. I'm holding you to it. She looked at him. Then maybe you should ask me properly. Marcus took a breath. He reached into his pocket. He didn't have a ring. Not yet. Instead, he took her hand. Evelyn Carter, I don't have a perfect life to offer you. I don't have everything figured out. But I can promise you one thing. What? I'll never stop choosing you. Evelyn's eyes filled with tears. She smiled. Yes. Is that a yes? Yes. To marrying me? Yes. Marcus laughed. You really can't take it back now. She squeezed his hand. I don't want to. Months later, the same classroom was filled with students. Evelyn stood at the whiteboard. The same complicated equation was written across it. She turned toward the class. Does anyone want to solve this? A student raised his hand. Professor, isn't this the equation your husband solved? Evelyn smiled. My fiancé. The classroom erupted in laughter. At the back of the room, Marcus stood beside the door. This time, he wasn't wearing his janitor's uniform. He wore a simple dark suit. Beside him stood Lily, smiling proudly. Evelyn looked at Marcus. You want to try it again? Marcus laughed. I thought you were done testing me. Never. He walked to the board. The students applauded. Lily shouted, Go, Daddy. Marcus picked up the marker. He looked at the equation. Then he looked at Evelyn. You know, Professor. Yes? You should be careful what you promise people. She laughed. Why? Because sometimes they actually solve the problem. The students laughed. Marcus turned toward the board. Within minutes, he finished. But this time, nobody cared about the equation.